This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hello and welcome to Iking Live. I'm your host, Ike Seneres. Tonight we're going to talk about business, but not just any business. We're going to talk about business with a spiritual dimension. And for that, we have invited Mr. Gaurav Shah from India. Good evening, Gaurav.
Good evening.
And
Thank you
he
so
is
much.
Managing Director of Nestora Consulting. We'll ask him to talk about that later, but maybe we'll start with the question. What brings you to the Philippines?
What brings me to Philippines is the love for people, in very simple terms. What I've seen here and also in a lot of developing countries is that people want to be successful, but in the chase of being successful, they actually become more imbalanced in life, and that adds to stress, and it actually creates a very difficult life for them. And at the end of the day, it's getting them nothing, and that's exactly what I want to change, and that's what we've been doing in most developing countries. That's exactly what brings me to Philippines.
And you want to bring this, what do you call it? Is it a method? Is it a philosophy?
It's not a method or a philosophy. It's actually a belief system. It's actually an advocacy. It's a way of life. In very simple terms, it's how you can control your mind. If I have to quote Albert Einstein on this, that everything is energy, there's nothing except for energy. If you tune into the energy of success, that's what you're gonna get. There's no other way, and that's exactly what we are trying to advocate here in the Philippines.
And that
as
energy
well.
comes from
The mind.
the universe also?
Yes, it's all energy. We are units of energy. So if I have to give you an example of how we normally lead daily life, typically we think, and we have been conditioned since our childhood, that we have to work hard to become successful. We have to work 9 to 9, 9 to 6, whatever that may be, to become successful, earn money. And if you have more money, it means you're more successful, and happiness just gets out of that equation most of the times. But to become more successful, the first thing you need to do for your own self is to define what success is. Is that money? Is that happiness? Is that peace? And all of these are absolutely essential for a good life. But we forget happiness, we forget peace, we forget joy. 80% of people do not even know how peace feels like because of the stress. Look, I have to pay my rent tomorrow, I have to pay the bills tomorrow. It's all economics. So everything that we do today is tied up to the banking system. We are almost enslaved to it. And that's a big problem. It's a global problem.
Poverty is an economic
Exactly.
problem.
And it shouldn't be.
But what do you mean? What do you mean by
It
that?
shouldn't be. I mean, all human beings are created equal. We are nobody to discriminate somebody on an economic scale. It's
Alright.
just man-made. The banking system is man-made. The
Okay.
universe does not discriminate between a cup of coffee and $1 million. It cannot. It does not understand that. It understands energy. So when you are able to control your mind and emit the right energy, you will attract the right things in life. You don't need to be poor.
And you can become successful
Certainly.
in business
One
also.
more example. I can give you a very simple example here. If we look at a seed, the seed does not struggle to become a tree. It just unfolds in grace, and that's the nature's way. It cannot be otherwise. What we are doing is the exact opposite. We are struggling, which is unnecessary. So you have to control your mind, your thoughts most of the time. I mean, typically if you look at the statistics, we get 60,000 thoughts a day, and that's way too much. We don't need those thoughts.
Okay, so you have been teaching this method or philosophy in India
Yes.
and in what other countries?
Thailand.
Thailand.
Yes. India and Thailand.
Okay, and now you want to bring it to the Philippines.
Absolutely.
What is your plan here? How can you do that?
We
Here.
are actually launching this as a business. So we are going to conduct programs for the corporates, because that will help them build high energy teams, so the corporates become successful.
Okay, so you have a corporate target.
Yes, and second, we
Meaning
are
these are
also
the business executives of
Yes.
big corporations.
Absolutely.
Okay.
and the second, we will also hold open public programs where everybody is invited.
Everybody can be business owners.
Can be anybody,
Mm-hmm.
any human being. I am nobody
Okay.
to discriminate that.
Okay. And what do you call that program?
The program is called Internalizing Success. How do you internalize success? So we are going to teach, how to comply to various universal laws, how to get control over your mind, get into the zero state, and there's a daily routine that you can actually follow, by way of which you will get an entire life without disease and infirmity.
But that's not religious.
That's not religious.
Is it- what
That's
is it?
just nature. We are complying to nature. We are integral to nature. We are nature too. It's funny when people say, I am going to a hill station because I want to go and connect with nature. We forget we are nature too. So there's no need
That's
to go
true.
to a hill station. We are nature, and we need to recognize and accept that first before we start getting into any other journey. That's basically what we are trying to promote here.
So from your experience, how does that kind of thinking affect the attitude of a businessman?
He becomes more loving, more giving, more compassionate. He's able to build his business with effortless ease and based on a very, very strong ethical value system. He builds fundamentally strong businesses. That's basically what he's going to be able to do. At the same time, he will be able to eliminate struggle.
And he will be less materialistic.
Okay. It is not about being less materialistic or more materialistic. What we need to be happy and successful is balance of three things: spiritual, intellectual, and material. Money is not criminal. Money is not evil.
As long as you don't steal it.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. However, even if you're stealing the money is not evil. You are evil. We
Okay.
have come to know that, oh, money has created so many problems. No, it's not that. It's our mindset, our attachment to that money that creates problems. It's not the money.
Is that the same as saying money is not the root of evil?
Of course not.
It is the love for money that is
Exactly, it is
the
so.
root of evil.
Look at it. The knife is not the criminal in the picture. A murderer can use the knife to kill somebody, and a doctor would use the same knife to save some life.
Okay.
The knife is never wrong. Similarly, money is not evil. It's the love for it.
It's just an
Surely.
object.
Absolutely.
But isn't it that there could be a conflict between the profit motive and this spiritual dimension
No,
that you are introducing?
absolutely not. If you are doing business for a no profit intention, or that's bad business anyways. and
Well,
and
for profit,
spirituality does not say that you don't make profits, because if you don't make profits, you are not helping your own country to make any kind of economic progress. So profits is not bad, definitely not. To some extent, even greed is okay because that gives you growth, but when you cross the line, everything goes wrong.
profit is the motivation of
Certainly,
capitalism.
certainly.
But isn't there such a thing as excessive greed,
There is
capitalist greed?
love for money
And how do you control that?
with your own mind.
Example.
If you can control your mind in terms of there is no single thought between two technical tasks that you need to do, all of this will not happen. Which
Can you
means,
can you control the love for money?
of course you can.
How? Maybe you can teach that.
Of course. Compassion. Okay, I'll give you an example. One of the natural laws of success is the law of giving. When you give without an intention or a desire of getting something back, the universe recognizes that high frequency energy and it actually comes back 10 times to you. But when you start with giving, there is no love for money you're talking about. Complying to that means you're going to be high
Let me just
frequency
digress
yourself.
a little
Sure.
bit because of what you said. I think what you said is the original model for corporate social responsibility. A corporation gives something without expecting anything in return. But now it has become more like maybe a tax shelter. You laugh. What is your reaction?
No comments on that.
We're still theoretical here. We're not referring to
Uh,
actual companies,
yes.
actually.
CSR, corporate social responsibility, in most developing countries that I have seen, has turned into a marketing manifesto.
A tool.
Yes. And
Okay.
hence completely non-compliant to the law of giving.
The law of.
Giving.
Isn't it that a real CSR should have nothing to do with the business of the one giving?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if you
The
see a
real
company,
CSR, in my opinion, is when you're becoming socially responsible, the number one thing that you would do is build and run your business on very strong ethical framework. That's the first module that you must install in your CSR framework, because you should not get into bad business, you should not get into wrong business, unethical practices. If you are able to do just this much, you will do much better than donating money to somebody who's not going to make use of it in the right sense, because you will at least promise to give the right product to the people so they get value for money. Number one. Number two, you will hold responsibility if something goes wrong. I mean, today if you look at the number of call centers that we start calling because things go wrong, and you look at how many times you're diverted on that call center. Oh sir, this is not me, this is not him, this is not me. It tells you, it frustrates you by saying that, look, the company that sold you the product did not take the responsibility. If you're able to take that responsibility, that's real CSR, number one. Number two, it's not about donating money. It's actually a bad way to do CSR. You have your budgets, but spending effort on that is more important. That's what I believe. So rather than just giving out money to a particular charity, you would rather go and do the job for them so that you can ensure that your money is actually used in the right way, rather than it leaking out.
this new practice or science called customer relations management, I think there is a connection between that and what you're saying.
Yes,
To-
it's about
to what?
having the ethical framework intact.
Not to fool your customer,
Absolutely.
to love your customer, and to
Absolutely.
serve your customer.
The moment you start doing any business with the love of it, with the intention and motive of giving the right things to your customers, solving real problems, you're never going to be unsuccessful. You cannot fail because you're solving real problems.
So what can you say about companies that are selling, for instance, products that are destroying the environment or destroying the natural production of food? I'm not naming names, but you're laughing. I noticed that.
Yeah, I don't like them. Simple.
You don't like them, but why are
However,
their businesses growing?
However, the way industrialization has happened in the last couple of 100 years, especially in the last 50 years, the pace at which things have happened, we've actually forgotten that we are part of that nature. We have ruined our climate, and that's why each country now has billions of dollars in climate change budgets, which was unnecessary.
It would have been
It
unnecessary.
wouldn't have been. Yes, exactly. So,
But now they
well,
have,
we've done it. We have to
they
pay
have a
for it.
carbon credit scheme, which is in a way the way to atone for their sins. Do you favor that?
Absolutely no.
So what do? You just tell them to stop doing it? No more
Uh,
carbon credits?
Carbon credits. If you really look at it, if I'm flying an airplane and I have, burnt an X amount of fuel and I've emitted an X amount of CO2 in the atmosphere,
Mm-hmm.
paying $100 for that and getting rid of it,
That's not. That's not.
that's
solve-
attitude.
Same-
Well, okay,
same
I'll
goes-
still take the plane and pay $100.
Same goes for
Okay.
those who are polluting the air and
Second thing that
polluting the
happens,
water.
second thing that has already begun happening in the last few years is that we have an exchange. Companies now can trade on carbon credits and make more money.
yes, it's become
It's a
commercialized.
business.
A business, yes.
No, that's not how it should work. The climate control board, needs to absolutely put clutches. There is no doubt about that. That's number one. Number two, the farming. We need to become more natural, for sure.
Bhutan declared that.
Yes.
Bhutan declared they want to be the first
I
country.
mean, look at the funny, paradigm that we are in now. And if you look at farming 50 years ago, they used to have cow dung and other means of fertilizers.
Uh-huh.
Then came in the chemical fertilizers.
Yes.
So the quality of food became malignant. Suddenly we have so many people going through cancer.
I know. So
And now we have organic food, which is 3 times more expensive. Well, 50 years ago, when cow dung was used as a fertilizer, it was organic food.
all right.
Why does it have to be 3 times
Okay,
more
we are
expensive?
going to take a break, and when we
Surely.
come back, let's talk about your plans, how to help
Absolutely.
Filipino businessmen,
Perfect.
maybe start-up businessmen, improve their business and
Certainly.
look for capital.
Absolutely.
Good
Why
money,
not?
huh?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good money.
Take it away, baby.
Thank you.